Well, happy New Year. It's been a great year. The year came in with a bang. Well, anyway, um, I'm gonna do things a little bit different this time. In my part ones, I'm going to talk about Mother Nature and correlate it to the signs. And then in part two, I'm going to talk about more detailed analysis of the signs instead of doing the same thing in part one as I do in part two, or do what I do in part two as I do in part one. So that way there's more material to cover. Okay? Again, the best analysis that you can do for yourself is to have a birth chart done. Invest the time and the money and have a birth chart done. Because again, these are generics, but if it hits very, very close to home for you, when I talk about compatibility or incompatibility of signs, then that should be a step towards wanting to know more. I mean, it's worth it if you are in a relationship, let's say 3 years or more, or if you're married. If you're just, dating and just shooting the breeze and just having a good time, then it's not necessary to invest that kind of time and money on a professional birth chart for like a passing or boyfriend or girlfriend. It should be really for people who are interested in developing a long-lasting relationship, a long-lasting commitment. So understand that even though you have signs that are incompatible and don't work out, and yet you have incompatible signs that do work out when traditionally they shouldn't work out, well, that has a basis of an explanation, and it usually has a lot to do with the birth chart of both individuals. Two people can be incompatible, just like I stress in my videos, but that doesn't mean, and again, I always talk when I do these videos generically. If it applies to you and your partner, these are the clients that should request for a birth chart, because then that means that we're on the right ballpark. It's just a matter of dealing with particulars, because everybody's birth chart is different. People are born on different birth times, on different dates and stuff. So even though there is a general good idea of what it is like to be with a Cancer and a Leo, generically speaking, if it's a conflict or a harmony, and all compatibility and incompatibility of signs have both the harmonious and inharmonious aspects. And it's good to know both and know if that applies to you. And if it applies to you, a good portion of a percentage of it, then that means that the rest that is not compatible, because each person's individual differences, then that's something that it's worth investing to want to know what those individual differences are. You're never going to get that in a generic reading. It has to come from a detailed birth chart. And we're going to jump right in. And we're gonna finish talking about the incompatibility of signs of Leo and Cancer. Okay, so we're gonna do that now. Of course, a lot of you have been sending me information, and listen, even if I don't get to read everybody's comments, trust me, it could be a month, 2-3 months, but I will get to all of you. All of you. One thing that I want to talk about, because we're dealing with incompatibility of signs, is that I'm going to talk about it from the perspective of the Leo man and the Cancer woman. Whereas in part one, I will really focus more on the Leo woman and the Cancer man. So now I'm going to flip it and talk about the Leo man and the Cancer woman. And one of the things that you have to know off the bat and understand off the bat is that Leo, his overriding emotional need to be loved and adored and even worship is typical of the Leo mythology. So if you want to know if this is actually where Leo's psychological need for adulation and adoration, where it seems like he can live without it. Okay, that comes from the mythology of Leo, of needing to be adored, enamored, and worshipped. Leo represents royal mythology. So the mythology of Leo is quite royal, quite regal. Okay. Leo men and women have such huge and large personalities, and they exude such warmth, of being, that it's not difficult for people to love them. It's not difficult for people to just be completely enamored with them, because again, we are talking about the radiating sun. Okay. The compatibility with Leo and many other signs can range from the most fundamentally easy person to get along with on the street, or the over big romance that they always seem to hold for every passing girlfriend that they seem to be stricken or smitten by. Okay, everything that the Leo man does is couched with dramatic drama. I mean, I'm not even gonna use that as an adjective, as a modifier. I'm just gonna say drama, and this actually catches people by surprise. This catches people by surprise. People, you would think that the woman is the one who's dramatic or melodramatic or histrionic. And yes, that may be true, but so are the men. The thing is that it doesn't happen quite the same way like it does with the woman. The Leo man is extremely melodramatic, histrionic even, more so than the woman. But the way he expresses it is like concentrated bursts and sprouts. Whereas the Leo woman represents that same dramatic and the need to express in a dramatic way emotions in a way that is, because when we say dramatic, we really mean over the top. And Leo, they like to express emotions and feelings over the top. Remember, if you look at the Leo women videos and the Leo men videos, I talk about that in the psychology, in the head, in the mindset of a Leo man or a Leo woman, there is a stage. And in that mind, they are in a stage, and everyone around them is a participatory agent in their drama. Of course, this isn't the case in real life, which is why Leo is very difficult to psychologically understand. It's difficult to understand his motivations and why he does what he does. The Leo man can be ratchet and can be ooh, and now, going for the negative, especially the bad boy types. But understand that even that in itself could really be an act. Their only concern is to create drama so that they can create attention, so that they can have an audience. Now, I'm talking about the lower evolved Leo, or the Leo that's a young person, right? Which is forgivable. But when you're dealing with Leo men that are past 30 and are already past their prime, you're dealing with men who may be comfortable and happy with who they are, but understand that doesn't mean that they're not going to get what they want, or get the person closest to them to do for them what they want. The problem is that in the normal flow of relationship, this always goes on. It doesn't matter what sign it is. Leo, Cancer, Aries, Virgo, it doesn't matter. The problem becomes, again, like I mentioned in part one, the reciprocity. the reciprocity. The Leo man just doesn't seem, according to most astrologers, myself included, because I have a case file of many Leos and those are the case studies, is that, they really have to be taught. They need to be guided in knowing how to love their women, how to love their wives. And I'm not talking about, the sexual intercourse part, because that we know Leo has no problem in that area. The problem is in its emotional sustainability and also the emotional inflection that sometimes accompanies intercourse. And these are things that women are. It's important to women, and it's important to women for a variety of reasons. It is an index indicator to women as to how they're pleasing their man and how they feel pleased in the context of the relationship. So that entails a back and forth feedback. And here again lies the problem with the Leo man, is that the Leo man does not like to communicate these themes, especially when they involve an emotional nature. He's only concerned about his own emotional nature, and only if it's brought to his attention. Only if it comes from a place where he's hurt and wounding. But other than that, the Leo man does not express sentimentality openly. It doesn't mean he doesn't feel it. But he also, in the essence of feeling his own sentimentality, he's not going to allow that to sway his decision concerning other human beings, whether it's intimate or generally. Understand that the opposite polarity of Leo is Aquarius. And Aquarius is impersonal, impartial, indifferent, rather aloof. And the Leo man sometimes comes across that way. Understand that he's pulling from that polarity of Aquarius, aloof and detached. And Leo will not care about your feelings, and to the degree that he may have hurt you, especially if it's outside of his awareness. It has to be brought into his awareness before he can actually appreciate the damage that he's causing or the damage that he's done. Now, the Cancer woman being so tolerant and forgiving and accepting and withholding too, because this can generate a certain level of anger and resentment on the part of the Cancer woman if she herself is young or if she herself is immature. Because usually if that's the case, you have to understand that there's a universal cosmic principle that comes into play right away, and that's the law of attraction. If the Cancer Leo person are engaging in the war of the roses and tearing each other apart, then that means that both these people are attracting to each other or pulling out of each other their own shadow. Mm. And if this is the case, then there's no evolution for the couple, for the relationship, and there's no individual lessons to be learned by each individual partner within the couple. So, and if that, I can see that happening if the couple is young. But if we're talking past 30, past prime, and this is the situation that we're having two people that probably have not found themselves yet individually or have engaged in a journey of self-discovery themselves before they've engaged in a partnership, in a relationship with anybody, not just Cancer and Leo, with anybody, because we're talking about a universal principle here. So understand that in dealing with Cancer and Leo, there's going to be an overwhelming, dramatic, histrionic over exaggeration of the emotions, whether it's a female Leo or a male Leo. That's the one thing. And they can be so good at over dramatizing their emotions and their feelings, especially in situations of arguments and conflicts, that you are brought into the level of intensity of the dramatic amping that the Leo person does. You have to, in order to not fall into that, you have to not, as a Cancer woman with a Leo man, you cannot react. You cannot react to the person's dramatic interludes. Because understand that where that's coming from a Leo man. He wants to plunge you in. And in plunging you in for whatever motivation he's doing it for, basically, primarily, it will be for distraction. So that he can throw you off and then he can continue to do what he's doing right underneath your nose. If you're dealing with an unevolved Leo, if you're dealing with a highly evolved Leo, um, these power plays and that tactics and dynamics will never be in play. But what would be in play in a situation where you're dealing with older couples, much more mature, and solvent, and self-sufficient within each other. If you're dealing with this type of couple and they're together, then in order for a balance and harmony for them would be that one of them will have to make an electionary choice to leave while the other one follows. And in this situation, the one that will follow will be Cancer. And the one that will be allowed to lead will be Leo. Cancer, especially if it's a Cancer woman with a Leo man, the Cancer woman will express that cardinality by denying herself her own authority and putting that of the lion, even if he doesn't deserve it. Because a woman will do anything to sustain and maintain a relationship and placate to her partner if necessary in order to make him feel a certain way so that the relationship can continue to be cohesive. And this can be a temporary band-aid of a wounded ego or frail or fragile ego in the part of the male. And it could work for a while. But if the couple is to evolve together, and each individual is to discover each other, because in the process of their relationship evolving as the years go by, each individual person also grows and matures, and interest can develop when people go separate ways, or if there's enough sustainability and interest among each other, they can grow and actually enjoy each other's company, enjoy each other's dreams and progress and ambitions, and even different outside interests of each other. But that, again, for a Cancer and a Leo, requires much, much self-discovery of each other. And before that happens, there's going to be a real battlefield of wills as far as getting the shadow lower aspects of each person out of the way, so that you can actually begin to see the real person within each other. Okay, the Cancer and Leo compatibility really depends on the level of maturity that both couples come into the relationship together. So if the Cancer woman can handle and tolerate and deal with the dramatic histrionic gestures and exaggerated emotions of Leo, then she will be quite ahead of the game and placating him and giving him his dramatic, I guess, juice that he needs to feed off of, so that he can then be stable and calm. Okay. Otherwise, if this is not given to him as an outlet, then he's gonna cause a tremendous amount of drama towards you. Because of the boredom, of the restlessness, and also of the Leo's need of assurance that he's eternally loved and will always continue to be loved. That is very important for Mr. Leo. Okay?